I mean, you're coming to your stadium now. I mean, it used to be the stadium I'd visit with my team, and now it's my home. It's the place that I can create as a fortress for these fans, and yeah, have a home. I mean, I drove past it last night, coming back from the hotel where my family were, and just had a look at it. It's pretty wild to think that that's it. That's your home now. This is that one. Hey guys. Hey, how are you, Tim? Let's go, man.
What has life been like since you've taken over at TFC?
Living the dream every day with high quality people, players and staff at Toronto FC. The resources, the infrastructure around the first team is first class, and to be able to be on first class facilities every day, it is living the dream. I think as a coach, you can literally dedicate every waking hour to your craft without thinking about a dollar or thinking about have we got the right number of staff to get jobs done. It's just, this is a well-oiled machine, and I think it has a championship foundation.
You obviously have some trusted staff members that you've worked with in the past, have accompanied you here to TFC.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with Simon Eadie. I mean, Simon's been with me since 2005, the Women's 20 World Cup. He's the goalkeeping coach, and he also does all the technical coordination. So he makes sure everyone's in the right place at the right time, and he's always making sure their longitudinal planning's taken care of. And then Dr. Cesar Milan. He's heading up the sports science conditioning department and bringing some of the best practice from our Olympic experiences to the club. And then Eric Tenlado, we call him the Spaniard, but he comes with that rich sort of Spanish experience, working in professional clubs in Spain. And Alex Dodgson, who's our opposition scouting analyst, he driving a lot of the tactical blueprints and making sure we have our truth mirror, which is all the measures that sort of guide us towards, whether the result says one thing, did we actually win the game? Because as you know, with football, if you ask Mikel Arteta, anything can happen in football these days. So, what we need to do is be able to measure that, and Alex brings that element. Terry Dunfield, his role is strategically as an assistant coach within the team. He has a unit responsibility around a certain group of players, but one of his fundamental responsibilities is the bridging strategy. His job is to align particularly the U19s and TFC2 into the first team. And then you've got Robin Gale. Robin's the connector. She was the first woman of colour in the men's team environment, actually one of the first female employees that had ever worked with the Canadian men's national team. But what I learned about Robin as a player was she just was able to connect the team. She had a special role in the first medal in 2012, the Pan Am Gold. Over a 6-year period working together, 7 years, we've created a cultural framework, which, when people talk about that chemistry, the team spirit people seen with the men's national team, the brotherhood, that was deliberate. The work that went in. Robin has an operational plan. She has a strategic plan. We sign off the strategic goals. She has a budget that she attributes to absolutely delivering on outcomes, which are bringing a team tighter together, bringing a staff tighter together. So that's what she's been doing for 7 years, honing her craft and really understanding the nuances of when teams split, what the problems are, how you bring teams back together, and when teams are together, how you bring them to the next level of performance. So that's our cultural framework, and she manages that process and does it very well.
It's obviously early, but can you describe kind of what your working relationship is like with John? Also, just given that there's been some structural changes within the club over the past season.
Yeah, the working relationship, we're off and running. Both he and I getting the positions in and around the same time, really creating an environment that facilitates and breeds collaboration, honesty, and I think the foundation and building of trust and work that's going to go on to achieving the goals we want to achieve as a club. It's been a lot of long days thus far, and those will continue on until we end up at our desired outcome. And so far so good. We have a lot of work to do, and we're both motivated, excited, and driven to do the work.
Have you seen that kind of impact and influence that you referenced about John's reputation kind of taking shape so far since he's taken over?
Yes, for sure. I think it's always a very difficult exercise for a manager to come, whether it's midway through the season or the end of a season, begin to take inventory and stock on what's here and what is the plan to then change it and make it look and be in the vision of what we all want. The work has been incredibly detailed, incredibly comprehensive, and the one thing that I gained from the stretch so far is clarity. It is very clear to everyone in the building what the expectation is. It's very clear what their roles and responsibilities are within the plan and the strategy, and we all are tasked with meeting those expectations. And the clarity means that there's no hiding. So that in and of itself, is apparent to everyone.
What are your specific goals for yourself and your staff and for TFC for the offseason?
Yeah, longitudinal planning to break the season down into the various phases and then start to stage the tactical and the cultural development through a season. I think that's one of the first objectives. Second objectives, player recruitment. Make sure that one, we've assessed this group accurately, and two, we've been able to line up within our budget realities and cap realities, the right players to come in. Firstly, the right people. That's the first thing that we're establishing is an absolute, there's a line in terms of the personality, the character, and then, the right player in terms of their competency that they can fit the tactical blueprint.
Last question. It's been a challenging time for the TFC supporters. Why should fans be optimistic about next season?
Well, I'm a Newcastle United fan. We suffered for 8 years, so hopefully you don't have another 4 years of suffering. And I just look at, where that club is now, the impact of Eddie Howe, and, it's a club that has got that potential. And I think TFC are no different. We've had three and a half years of suffering, and it's time to change. I mean, you've got to suffer to really appreciate the good times. I mean, every club goes through it. Liverpool, Manchester United, they all go through in this cycles. For us, it's about breaking the cycle. And it's enough's enough on some of the standards, some of the things that we've seen on the field, some of the behaviours that we've seen from players. Enough's enough. Some of the decisions that may have led to players coming in that weren't quite right for our club. Enough's enough. And that's clear right from the onset. We've set a line, and there's above the line and below the line, and we're above that line every day. So I think for the fans, you got to keep expecting, keep demanding. We're not shying away from that. We're going to need you next season. We want to build that home fortress at BMO Field. We want to win every match there for you. You'll be a huge part in making that happen.